Well, good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your metal market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening. As we're here now on Sunday, the 2nd of February, tariff. First look at what the tariffs are doing on the metal markets. And wow, it's about 7:40 p.m. I'm later than normal. I was not watching the Grammys. I've been trying to figure out what to do, if anything. All right. So we have a lot going on, and part of what we have going on is you're going to get S&P Global Group in the morning with their normal, and this will be their final January PMI for manufacturing. ISM will come out with their January manufacturing sector index at 9. We had the rig count change, but this is what's moved the market. Trump hit the tariffs on Canada, China, and Mexico. Mexico and Canada got 25% tariffs across the board, but that's wrong grammar, really, because what Trump did is he said if there's he gave an oil exception of 10% tariff instead of 25, but he took a lot of money back. And in the past, if you had an allowance of an $800 under package on tariffs, they didn't get tariffed. Now they're getting tariffed and taxed. So, bingo. China, 10%. Now remember, he also said if you challenge him on this, he will put on additional tariffs. Justin Trudeau immediately went with that. So we will see if anything new comes out and how rough those will be if they take place. We haven't seen anything yet out of Mexico, and I haven't seen anything yet out of China. They're both holding themselves back, saying they are going to retaliate. And I believe they will. So we will see where this all comes in. But remember, these don't go into effect until Tuesday. Why? Because I think he left the door open for negotiations, and I would be surprised if at a fever pitch, there are not negotiations going on today, tomorrow, in order to avoid the actual implementation. We will see. If they get implemented on Tuesday, that is when he probably hits Canada with the additional part after that at some point. So far, he's kept to his word, so we'll see what that means. I would have thought that the dollar would get a bid. I would have thought that you would get a bid in the bonds and the notes, and in most cases you did, although the short term isn't getting that strong of a bid. And I would have thought gold would have done better. I did not think that you'd hold up in Bitcoin. And by the way, that's the January. It's off the board. I have to put the Feb up, but it's down about $6,000 a coin. So I just have the wrong quote up there. I'm sorry. It's been a rough day as I've tried to write a long market letter, which I'm going to get out in a few minutes for my clients too. So as you put this all together and you come to the chart, you can see on a monthly basis, gold is down 0.5 point. The month just began, first day of the month of trading. The weekly will be down the same, all right, because the week and the month start all at the same time right now. You can see how the charts come up against an all-time high. You're backing off. Big support's $26.97, about $100 an ounce lower. I don't know if it can get that low. Why should it? You've got inflation, you've got tariffs. I wouldn't become a huge seller on gold on that information. Now, do you remember I told you that London Metal Exchange and the CME prices, well, NYMEX actually, New York prices, were so out of line? JP Morgan over the weekend said they're going to deliver billions, I think it's $4 billion worth of gold on this. The number, I want to be certain I have the number right. It's a huge number, and that's because the arbitrage, if you're in the business where you can do that, you can make a killing. You can do it in copper, you could do it in these, so they did it in the gold market, and they've said they're delivering. They contacted the CME, and that'll do it. That's not bullish or bearish. They've already done properly the contracts, now they deliver against them. And that just moves the gold from Vault A to Vault C. Think of it that way. That's how that works. When you look at the weekly chart, you're up at the resistance point and you're overbought on a weekly basis. The gold-silver ratio still favors gold as you're over the 18-week average. Silver isn't even strong enough to get up here. And remember, there's tariffs on silver and copper yet. So be careful. You could see that right now hit this market. And notice how the copper's backed off 6 cents already, all because of that in part. So these are very important events. And look at, I'm so happy, when you look at some of these markets and they stop right at the Bollinger Band on the platinum. Do you remember when we were just a week ago, and if you go back, all of these are still up on the internet, obviously, my YouTube channel. And I said, it's going to be hard. In fact, I said this for a couple of weeks. It's going to be hard to get through the 100, the 18, and the 200-week average. Well, the market did it. And when it did it, it didn't stop. It went right to the upper Bollinger Band, and that's where it ran out of steam, just the way it did there and there. So you got to be careful with these markets. You can get yourself caught. 3 weeks ago, the dollar index was here. You fell back, and this is the first real bounce you're getting in the market off the tariff. I'm thrilled because I looked for that pullback to be where you're at. Remember what else I told you? If you get a prolonged trade war, the dollar probably keeps rallying. I know you'll think I'm nuts when I say this, but you can get a big rally into the 114, 115 area in that if you keep going off of what we call price counts. Now, that doesn't mean it has to go there. The fourth counts and so on are the highest non-probability to hit. Not that they won't be hit. They're better than not hitting them. They're the least probability of the first, second, or third counts. And you've hit the third count. And when you got up here on that's what put this market, as you'll see, right where you're fighting this battle. So be careful. In the morning is when I want to make my move, potentially in the morning. Why? Because by then, all the evening trading in Asia and Europe will be in the market. American traders, early risers like me, will have made their moves. And at that point, you won't get the surprises. Now, the surprise can always be that they're going to take off the tariff, that enough was done by Canada and or Mexico to remove that, and they get removed, I don't know. It's a fluid situation. You go to iraepstein.com research if you want to catch what I do in the morning. Move your cursor up here. That's the other area that you click on the link. Get yourself into that area, and away you go, because I am looking for deploying of positions. I'm Ira. You have yourself a good evening. Catch up with you tomorrow.